In this video, we're going to talk about what a non-exempt employee is. So a non-exempt employee is somebody who is protected by minimum wage and overtime laws, meaning this person must be paid at least the minimum wage, and when they work overtime, they must be paid overtime, which is time and a half, when they work over 40 hours. Now, just to give you a really easy situation, your tipped employees are non-exempt employees. They must be paid at least minimum wage, and they must be paid overtime when they work over 40 hours. So here's a perfect example, just like I just said. You have an employee who's a waitress, and they are actually working in a state where they're paid $7.25 an hour. So is she paid overtime when she works over 40 hours in a work week? Well, if you're paying attention and you just heard what I said a minute ago, you'll know that this person must be paid overtime and at least minimum wage when those situations do arise. So minimum wage at a bare minimum, and if they work over 40 hours in a work week, you must pay them overtime, time and a half. So the answer is yes, you must pay them overtime when working over 40 hours in a work week. That's a mandatory item. In the second situation, again, it's the same employee, and in this state, they're paying a cash wage of $2.13 an hour, but she does not make enough in tips to make up for her tip credit. Employers are allowed to take a tip credit towards their tipped employees. So basically, what is she paid per hour? Well, remember, you must pay at least $7.25 an hour if you're following that wage. If you're in a state that pays $11 an hour, you must pay at least $11 an hour, and of course, time and a half when they work over 40. So in this case, if she does not make enough in tips, you, the employer, are responsible for paying her the full minimum wage, and of course, overtime when they work over 40. So just to give you some context here, because this is a um, highly big item that's been shown in a lot of the disclosures this year, 60 out of the 72 reported cases for restaurant violations this year had instances where the company did not pay overtime or underpaid overtime. A lot of that had to do with that the employer didn't pay the person their tips, didn't pay them time and a half when they worked over 40 and paid them straight time for all hours worked. And of course, in instances where they just paid the person, hey, I'm just going to give you straight time for every hour that you work. And even if you work 60 hours in a week, I'm still giving you straight time. That's a massive problem. So for sure, something you need to pay very close attention to.